Welcome to this video. In this video I would like to talk about the SAP Security Audit Log. I would like to explain what the SAP Audit Log is. I would like to show you how you can configure it within the system, and I would like to explain to you how you can analyze the SAP Audit Log properly. Because of SAP Security, first of all, of course, you have to prevent that there can risk things happen in your SAP system. You have to prevent them, so you have to make good security guidelines, check if everything works fine before those things could happen. But you also have to monitor the user activities. And to do this, you can use the SAP Security Audit Log tool for this. Basically, the SAP Security Log records the information that you have classified as security relevant. You can access this recorded information in the form of an audit analysis report, the so-called SAP Security Audit Log. How you can do this, as mentioned, I would like to show you in this video later on. Because of the SAP Security Log, up to the SAP S/4HANA 2021 version, so below that version, SAP Security Audit Log was deactivated in the delivery state. With SAP S/4HANA 2021, standard configurations for the SAP Security Log are delivered and activated by default. SAP wants to fulfill the requirements to SAP Security by default, so keep this in mind. The goal of the SAP Security Audit Log is to record security relevant information. So for example, security related changes to the SAP system environment, for example, changes to user master records, information that provides more transparency, for example, successful and unsuccessful logon attempts, and information that provides traceability of series of events, for example, successful and unsuccessful transaction starts. The following information can be recorded with SAP Security Log: successful and unsuccessful dialog logon attempts, successful and unsuccessful transaction starts, successful and unsuccessful report starts, successful and unsuccessful RFC logon attempts, RFC calls of function modules, changes to the user master record, changes to the audit configuration, downloading files, access to the file system with which the valid logical path names and file names specified in the system match, unsuccessful password checks for a specific user and a specific client, and a lot more. So you see that SAP Security Audit Log is really useful. Please keep in mind that you have to observe data protection requirements. The SAP Security Log contains personal data. It may be necessary to restrict access to the log files to the minimum number of users may be required. So keep this in mind to fulfill the data protection laws. Because of SAP Security Log, previously you may have used old transactions like the SM19 to configure the SAP Security Audit Log and the SM20 to analyze the created and recorded information in the log files. Here we have new transactions you have and you should use, even though the old transaction SM19 and SM20 are still in the system. First of all, you have the RSAU_config. With this transaction, you can configure the SAP Security Audit Log, and that is what I'm going to show you in a couple of seconds. Then you have the RSAU underscore transfer. With that transaction, you can upload a configuration file, so you don't have to manually configure the SAP Security Log. Then you have the RSAU underscore config underscore show. Maybe if you don't have authorization to the RSAU underscore config, with the rso underscore config underscore show, you can display the configuration of the SAP Security Audit Log. So what are the currently set up settings and configurations. Then you have the RSAU underscore admin. There you can basically administrate the log files of the SAP Security Audit Log. And then you have the RSAU underscore read underscore log. So therefore you can analyze the SAP Security Audit Log. Because of SAP Security Audit Log, there you have to fulfill a lot of requirements. You have to be careful about how you set this up, how you can analyze the log files, and so on. And there are a couple of very important SAP notes I will link in the video descriptions if you like to get to know more information about the prerequisites, about answering important questions. But of course, if you have any questions left, put them also in the comment sections down below. And yeah, by said this, now I gave you an important overview of SAP Security Audit Log. Now I would like to jump directly in the system, show you how you can set up the SAP Security Audit Log and how you can analyze it properly. To configure the SAP Security Audit Log, you have to open up the mentioned transaction code RSAU underscore config. So type this transaction code in the OK code field and then hit the Enter key. Then you will end up in here. Then first of all, you have to make sure that your parameters are set up correctly. Here we open up the transaction in the display mode. So go into the change mode and then double click on parameters. Here it's important that you set up the setting static security audit active. Then number of filters per profile have to be set to 10. Then you have to select the setting generic user selection, and it's important that you select protection format active. So once you've done this, then hit the save button to save your settings. The next step is that we have to do is basically we have to set up so-called filters. So filters define the detailed setting of an SAP Security Audit Log. So what basically has to be logged. So this is being done within a filter. In general, you have two possibilities to define the filters. Here in the rso underscore config transaction, there you can set it up manually, or what you can do is you can open up the transaction RSAU underscore transfer as mentioned, and here you have the possibility to upload an existing SAP Security Audit Log configuration file, and you can get the template within an SAP Note. Here within this SAP Note, you can, within the attachments area, you can download the template. So basically just download it and then you can upload it within the transfer transaction. Of course, the link of this SAP Note is added in the video description, so there you can get it easily. As mentioned, download the txt file, go once again into the transfer transaction, and here you can upload it manually. After doing this, you go once again into the RSAU underscore config transaction, and then you can basically adjust some filters if needed. For example, the emergency user, some events if you need this, if you want this. After you adjusted your configuration settings, you go once again into, if you are not yet in the change mode, and then you go into your profile, and then you activate your profile. So, and then once it's activated, then you record your security relevant information. And that's it. If you would like to add your SAP Security Log configuration manually, this can be done as we are here in the SRSAU_config transaction. So here you can set up your configuration manually, or as mentioned, you can adjust it also. Here I have already created one test profile, activated already. To do this, I recommend that you create a new profile. So what do you have to do this? So you have to go into the edit mode. Then you have within here have to click on create and then create profile. Here within the profile, basically you can enter your unique ID, in this case, for example, test2, and then you enter your short description, as mentioned here, test as well. If needed, if you would like to describe what you're doing here, you can also add a profile description if needed. Then click on the save button, and then you have saved your profile, and this is needed because I have already created one test profile. I won't do this once again. So I go into on my created test profile, and here I would like to activate, I would like to add my filters to record the security relevant information. We would like to add the filters, and keep in mind that you have to be in the display mode. In some cases, if you are in the edit mode, it's not possible to add filters. So here select your profile, then here within the create button, click on the little drop down and then choose create filter. As mentioned here directly, you will go into the edit mode. Your filter has been added, and here if you double click on the filter, yes, we would like to save my settings, that's perfectly fine. Here you can specify your detailed information of the filter. Maybe if you want to, you can add a short description. It's important that you set the checkbox to filter for recording active. Then within the client, you can specify the client and that you would like to do your recording. Here with asterisk, I select every client. Here you can also specify if you would like to select by username, by user group, whatever. And here I select by username. And here within user, in my case, I would like to do it for every user. So once again, asterisk. For example, if you would like to do it for the SAP asterisk standard user, you have to put an hashtag up front, so that the asterisk won't be interpreted as an asterisk to do a wildcard, but to have the SAP asterisk user. But in my case, as mentioned, I would like to do it for every SAP user. Then here within the select by priority, you can mention what you would like to select. I recommend that you select detailed event selection, so that you will get an overview of the events, and those events that you will select will be recorded. And yeah, basically I recommend that you don't play too much around between switching between the detailed event selection and the classic event selection. In my opinion, it's a little bit buggy, because if you switch, then your information about the header data and the standard selection, the entered information, will get lost. So you then have to double click on the node filter and then to enter your information once again. But yeah, basically maybe or hopefully you won't face this issue, but if, don't be frustrated, it's a little bit buggy, and then you have to enter your information once again. So then you have to save your filter, so click on the save button, and then your information are saved and won't get lost if you switch between those two selection views. Now you have to activate your profile. That is what you have to do. If we double click, then we can see that my profile is already activated. If you obviously, if you created a new profile, it's not activated. You have to do this with this activate profile button. Here my profile is already activated, but that is what you have to do. Then last but not least, what you have to do is you have to apply your profile to dynamic configuration. Why do we need this? So here you can see dynamic configuration and static configuration. What is the difference? A static configuration permanently saves your SAP Security Audit Log files even though your SAP server restarts. So this is what we need. But if you have created a new profile, this won't work at first. You have to work to use your profile, your filters. You have to restart now your SAP server. If, and in some cases obviously that's not possible, you have to add your profile to the dynamic configuration, because if you during your SAP server usage, your dynamic configuration will be used immediately, but if you restart your SAP server, the dynamic configuration will get lost. So they are not permanently, they are just to use a little time until your SAP server restarts. So to do this, here right click and then apply to dynamic configuration. So, and then you have added your filter to dynamic configuration. Here with double click, you can look around, you can still make some changes. That is still possible. So, and here right now, if you, for example, would like to analyze the existing SAP Security Audit Log configuration and you don't have access to the config transaction itself, you can open up the transaction rsau_config_show. So once you open this up, then you will see the SAP Security Audit Log current configuration view. And here right now, if we close all of this, then you can see basically your configuration, your parameters, your dynamic configuration, the filter we have done with the events that we've set up, and also the static configuration. So there you can see what is currently set up. So now what we have to do is we have to wait a little bit, because now in the background, because we have our dynamic configuration activated, now we have to wait that all the records will be saved, and in a couple of days we can analyze the logs, and that is what we're gonna do. If you would like to analyze your recorded SAP Security Audit Log files, your security relevant information, then you have to open up another transaction, and it's the RSAU_read_log. Once you open up, then you can open up the Evaluate Security Audit Log transaction, where you can specify basically some selection criteria. If you want to also a selection type, and you can also specify the audit classes, the events, data source selection, and how you would like to output the results. So once you've done this, then you hit the execute button. And then here right now you can see your audit log file. Keep in mind, we haven't set up everything, just the critical ones. And those are the recorded critical security relevant logs. So here, for example, that we basically have changed our security audit log configuration. And if you click on the audit log message text, then basically down here, you will see all the detailed information what this message tells you about. So, and yeah, I know that the SAP Security Audit Log configuration is a huge topic, but basically here I've showed you the most important settings. And if you have any questions left, put them in the comment section. Please like this video and please subscribe to not miss great upcoming videos. Thank you so much and see you in the next video.